Good day, dear learners, and welcome to another session of the Future Minds Bootcamp. My name is Tosca van Maurik, and I will be hosting this session for the Grade 9 Accounting. For today, we are going to look at journals and general ledger, but to zoom in, we are going to look at the journals and the general ledger of your debtors control. So just a little bit of a summary of what is debtors. So your debtors is people that owe you money. So all of the transactions will be held in your debtors control account in the general ledger, and those are a summary of the debtors of the business. The business must monitor each debtor very carefully because those will have an influence on your cash flow. Some of the debtors will pay on time or even before the time, while other debtors might be your slow payers. And these slow payers are the problem because they put a strain on the business, as the business also needs to pay for other operating expenses. For example, your electricity, your rent, and also our own creditors. If we don't have money to pay our own creditors, then we will also become our creditors' slow-paying debtors. We can manage our debtors by means of your debtors ledger, and your debtors ledger reflects the same information as in your control account, but this is when we dive deeper into the individual debtor. So the moment when the debtors control will be debited in the main general ledger, the individual debtors will also have to be debited. The other way around is then also true when your debtors control is being credited in the main general ledger, your individual debtors account will also have to be credited. With each entry in the individual account of the debtors, the balance is calculated, and therefore a company can quickly see how much debtors or how much each debtor is owing, and also act upon that. At the end of the month, the debtors list is then compiled from the balances on the debtors ledger accounts, and that have to then basically agree with what is on your debtors control account in the general ledger. The debtors control is exactly what it says. It is to control the entries in the individual accounts for all the debtors as a whole. Each debtor has then also a unique number in the debtors control, and that is the number that we will use in the folio column on your DJ, your debtors journal, as well as on your cash receipts journal. Okay, so let's dive into our first example. So the following invoice that will now be presented is a credit sales transaction, and the business sells the goods at a markup of 40%. So the source document will basically be then the invoice. For us, our source document is the duplicate invoice. So we have the duplicate, while the debtor then has the original invoice. So this is the duplicate invoice that was presented. So there is our customer. It is Mr. S.P. Becky. Invoice number, the document number is 109. Our address and the date of this invoice, and our name. Our name is Sports Incorporated, and this is basically what was then sold. So this is the selling price for the company, 8,496. So if we look at possible questions that may arise from this is, who is this debtor? Who is the debtor? So if we go back, we can see the debtor is SP Becky. So that will then be our first answer, will be then SP Becky. Second question might be, and this is more an application type of question is what is the new law that protects both the business and the consumer in this business? So the National Credit Act is the new law that protects the business and the consumer to make sure that both of them can actually afford this transaction. What can the business do to make sure that the debtor pays on time? Well, that you can maybe give them a grant for early payment. So maybe on the invoice itself, you can say a 2.5% grant if you pay within 20 days. Maybe you can also put on the invoice that any late payments there will be some interest or maybe penalties on that. And then the last one is maybe to have a dedicated team just to email them or to call the messages. So to send out the messages or to call them. And then the last one is, what is the accounting equation for this invoice? So I want you to think about what happened. So what happened was we receive a sale, okay, but it is one on credit. It is not, we didn't receive it actually by means of a cash. So what will happen is we will debit our debtors control and we will credit our sales. Why will we debit our debtors control? Let's think about it. A debtor is a sort of an asset. It's a current asset. Assets will be increased. Assets will increase on the debit side. Therefore, we will debit that with the amount of 8.4 thousand. And on the equation, our assets have increased. And then our sales that will increase our owner equity. So our owner equity will also increase. Then remember, we also have to do the following journal because that stock, that caps and shirts and so on, is not present yet, or it's not anymore in our storeroom or on the shelves of our store. So therefore, our trading stock will also have to be reduced. Trading stock is an asset. Assets reduce on the credit side. So we credit then our asset. And then with that is our cost of sales. So what was the cost price of this asset, of this trading stock that we now sold? So the cost of the sale is then will be debited. How did we calculate that 6.3? Remember the markup was 40%. So this 8.4 thousand includes the cost price, the 100%, plus my 40% profit. So my sales is then equal to 140%. So it's 8,496 divided by 100 times 100%. So that gives us then the 6,390. Let's see, why is it a minus? It is a minus because my trading stock, which is an asset, will now decrease. So my assets decrease. My cost of sales is an expense account. And expenses, the increase of expenses will then decreases my owner's equity. Okay, second example. We sold goods to credit, or on credit rather, for Elephant for 1.8 thousand, and the cost of sales is 680. So again, the debtors control, my assets increase, so you will debit my debtors control. Sales is an income. Your income increases and we will credit that on the credit side. Your cost of sale is an expense. My expenses is increasing, so we will debit the expense. Trading stock is an asset. Assets decreases, and therefore it will be credited. So if we have to place this credit sales on our debtors journal, it will be the invoice under your invoice column. Remember, this is now the duplicate invoice because the original invoice is with my data. Then the day, for example, the 12th of May, it was for E-Elephant. Sales was 1.8 and cost of sales was 680 Rand. Then the total sales column, as we already also mentioned, the total sales column will be debited in the debtors control account, and we will credit the sales account in the general ledger. So remember, the golden rule for accounting is there must always be a debit and a credit, and that must be the same amount. Then we are balancing. Then for the cost of sales, we will then have the total cost of sales column will be debited with 680, and it will be credited with the trading stock in the general ledger. So again, we have a debit and we have a credit. So for the accounting persons are very glad because everything is balancing. Let's quickly look how it will look in your balance sheet or in the general ledger rather. So we will have, it is May 2020 on the 30th. It will be cost of sales. It is our DJ2 and the amount is 680. So here we are actually then crediting trading stock. What was my other leg? We must have now a debit leg. My other leg was cost of sales. So it will be the same information, but can you now see that in my cost of sales, I am debiting with the trading stock. Okay, so my contra account is basically trading stock for the amount of 680. So can you see we have credited and we have debited. So we are good. If we go to the debtors control account, so debtors will increase on the debit side. So with the 1.8, and then the sales account will be credited. So again, can you see the contra accounts? In my debtors control account, I know it is for sales. That is coming from the DJ number 2, and it is 1.8. If I go to my sales account, I can easily trace this 1.8 thousand to my DJ2 to the debtors column in the DJ. Okay. Now it's all well. We have issued and we have purchased from, or the debtors has purchased from us. But now some or other times they also have to pay. And they pay, or how we record the payment is by means of your cash receipts journal. Okay, remember, cash receipts is all about our bank that is increasing. So our bank is increasing by means of this payments that we are receiving from our debtors. So just a small example, we are in JJ Stores and this is CR3. So it's the third one for this current financial year. So the doc number is the receipt number. So we give them a receipt when they pay. They paid on the 29th, which is the date of the transaction. Who paid? J. Rupert have paid their name. It is amount of 2,000 Rand that they have paid. But what is this amount for? This amount is for your debtors control. So that's the amount that we received. So what is effective happening here? Our bank is now debited and all of these amounts then are credited. So our debtors journal, or our debtors control rather, is a credit. Let's see, does it make sense? Let's think about it. So we receive some money. Our bank will increase. Bank is an asset, so assets will increase on the debit side. So we have a debit. But what is the credit? The credit is my debtors control. But does it make sense? Let's think about it. Debtors control is being reduced because they paid now, so they owe us a lesser amount. Okay, the moment when debtors control is decreasing, it means that debtors is an asset, so my assets also decrease. And my assets decrease on the credit side. So therefore, it makes sense that we have a debit bank 2,000, credit debitors control with 2,000. Okay, let's put everything together now with a simple calculation, but I want to let you see the feeling that we have with all the bits of information that we have just discussed, but that we put it together. So we give you the balances on 1 May 2020. Trading stock have a balance of 22,800, so that's our opening balance. And our debtors control our opening balance with 6,700. Remember, we said that the debtors control is just a summary of what is happening in your debtors ledger. So the debtors ledger consists of, or rather, we compile a debtors list of all our debtors ledgers. So first of all, I would like you to see that our debtors control, the opening balance is 6.7. And if you add together all the debtors list, or the debtors on our list, it should also then get back to 6,700 Rand. Then we have a debtors journal. So remember, a debtors journal is all our credit sales that we have made during May. Alrighty, so there's all our invoice numbers, the date that they have made all these purchases. So Dahlia have purchased for 6,300, Rose have purchased for 12,750, Dahlia again for 3,300. Remember, our debtors lists can be pages and pages and pages long. Okay, so this is just an example, but it's a small example. But if you have a debtors list for 2 debtors or 100 debtors, we're going to do exactly the same. Again, we probably would have 3, 4, 5, 6 pages worth of credit sales. Okay, same principle. So in total, we had then a total of 22,350 for credit sales for the month of May. And then for cost of sales, we have 14,900. On the cash receipts journal for May, there was some cash sales. Dahlia have paid. And Rose have also paid. Okay, so on the 14th, there were the 2 transactions. So we bank everything at once. So there's my 13 and my 6.3. And then Rose have paid on the 30th. Rose have paid 8,000. And there is my 8,000. So in total, for May, we have a total cash sales of 6.7 and the corresponding cost of sales with that sales. And then my debtors now have reduced with the 14,300. So for my debtors transactions specifically, we have for Dahlia and Rose, which is those 2 payments. Let's look at how the general ledger will be. So there's my, if we look at trading stock, there's my opening balance of 22,800. Then for this example, we only sold some inventory or trading stock. We did not purchase new. If we have new stock that we have purchased during the year, let's think about it. Trading stock is a assets. Asset will increase. So we will then have here, we will have a bank. So if it is in the cash payments journal and the amount, or if we paid or not paid, if we ordered some trading stock on credit, so that will be from the creditors from your CR or CJ rather, excuse me, and then the amount all on the debit side. But in this example, we only have sold some of the trading stock. So on 31 May, we have to post it to our general ledger. So there's the cost of sales. So this is of the D-Day 6. So we know this was the credit sales to our trade debtors. Good. So that's the 14,900. And there's my cash sales in my cash receipts journals, my cash journals of 4.5. Then we balance it off, and the balance that will be brought down will be your 3.4 thousand. If we look at the debtors control itself, we have the opening balance of 6,700 that was given to us. We also had some new sales in this year, or this month rather. So we have new credit sales of 22,350. But we had some good debtors, and they also have paid in total of 14,300. So our balance that we are going to draw down is 14,750. So can you see on your debtors control account, we only use bulk figures. Okay, so we get that straight from your journals, your cash receipt journals, and then your debtors journals. So this is the bulk figures. But now, if we want to make sure that our individual debtors ledger is also balancing, we will have to make sure that the list of my debtors ledger is then also going to add up to 14,750. So let's go to the debtors ledger. So we have an opening balance for Rose of 3.9. There is the new invoice, my new sales that she have purchased from. Okay, why is it under the debit? Let's quickly think about it. The moment when they purchase some new items from us, they owe us more. So they owe us more, so it means that my debtors will increase. My debtors increase is an asset, and assets will increase on the debit side. So it makes sense that we have a debit. Then they also have paid 8,000 Rand. Let's think about it. The moment they pay, meaning they owe us less amount of money. When they owe us less, our trade receivables will decrease. It is an assets. Assets decrease on the credit side. So therefore, it will decrease on the credit side. Then it is the same with Dahlia. We have an opening balance. She have also purchased some additional stuff from us. So we debit from the DJ6, we debit the individual debtors ledgers. Okay, and she have also paid then on the 14th. So can you see the balance outstanding for Rose is 8,600, and that is the amount that we transfer then to a debtors list. So there's my 8,650, and the same with Dahlia. There's my 6,100. If I add the debtors list together, I must get to the 14,750. So yes, it does balance to my trade receivables control account. Alrighty, so next time we are going to look at the trial balance. So how to then transfer everything from your general ledger to your trial balance. I also want to say thanks for the sources that I've used, for the contribution to our class for today. And remember that we must make mistakes, because that is the proof that you are trying. So I want you to keep on trying and trying and trying until you get it. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you again for the opportunity to be with you guys. Have a wonderful day and see you next time. Goodbye.